Hi guys, here I am again. Yeah, second video. There were a lot of questions regarding army organization, um, what type of how many units each brigade has, how many figures each unit has. So a unit in this case being a regiment or a battery. So I thought, yeah, probably handy if I clarify that bit a little bit further. So yeah, this is my gaming table, um, and here's a small part of my ACW collection. And let us concentrate on the infantry first. Let me see if I can zoom in a bit. So, in historically speaking, a Civil War regiment or brigade, I should say, comprises roughly 4 regiments on average, but it could be as small as 2 or as large as 6. So in this case, I made a brigade of 4 units, 4 regiments, and its brigade commander in the background. And I also composed them of the 4 size types you can have in with hot lead and cold steel. So in the background, this unit is a large regiment consisting of 5 bases. Next up, this unit, 4 bases, which is an average sized unit. On the left hand side, a small unit consisting of 3 bases. And finally, a tiny unit consisting of 2 bases. Now, you probably recognize these figures. They're all Perry miniatures, 28mm scale, which is also principally, or at least the scale I designed the rules for. I will show you how you can organize your other scale figures in a moment. So yeah, my figures are based my units are based on 60 by 40 mil bases, MDF bases, 6 figures to a base. Yeah, that's how me and my gaming group have always done it. So yeah, that's for us it's the most ideal size. In any case, regiments, and I will zoom in on the stat lines. As I explained in the other video, units have a unit coherency, which basically means the amount of damage they can suffer and the amount of fatigue penalties they can also incur. So each stand, I made it as simple as possible. Each stand can have 6 points of damage before it is removed. So, for instance, this large regiment, when it suffers its 6th casualty from shooting, you remove a stand. Oh, let me see if I can focus. Yes, there it is again. You remove a stand like this, so a large unit becomes an average size unit. You're also forced to take a morale check immediately after shooting. So after everyone has shot, and in this case, when you remove a stand, you are forced to take a break test. Of course, I will explain morale, etc., in future videos. But just to illustrate how simple it works, yeah, I thought I'd show you right away. Going back to the stat lines. So, for example, the large infantry regiment has just turned into an average-sized regiment because of losses. And as you can see, its shoot and melee values go down by 2. Yeah, you have less men in a unit, so it's not as powerful as it used to be. But you can also see that its morale stat line from a 6+ goes to a 7+. and that has also got to do with the fact that they see men falling down, getting killed, getting wounded, and the unit becomes smaller. So it's it's getting weaker. And you also need to test against the new leadership value, which is 7 plus. And that's basically how it works for cavalry and for artillery as well. So if we zoom on the artillery side, as you can see, there are three sizes of batteries. In the background, there is a full-size battery of 3 pieces, which is a large battery. The Union mostly had large batteries when they were deployed. And I'm not sure if you can see it, but it is also possible to field mixed batteries. So in this particular case, they have 2 pieces of rifled guns, and on the right-hand side, 1 smoothbore gun. Now, how that works, also, that's for another video. But for now, that is what it looks like. And I based my artillery pieces on 60 by 80 mil. It's just a suggestion. If you have based your troops in any other way, that's fine. It will work perfectly. Same goes, as I just explained, for infantry. Each base has 6 hit points, so that goes for artillery as well. When a artillery battery receives its 6 points of damage, it is reduced to either 2 pieces or, in this case, a small battery, to 1 piece. And again, when you lose a stand, they need to take a morale check. Cavalry. My cavalry collection isn't that big at the moment because, as you are probably aware, Civil War was mostly an infantry fight. But I do have some. Let me take this guy out of the way. So what I have here is a large regiment of cavalry, which consists of, 8 bases. And I base my figures on 50 times 50 mil. But there's plenty of people who will base them 3 figures on 75 by 50 mil. Doesn't really matter. This would be a average sized unit, so around 12 figures, and I would say around 8 figures would be a small regiment of cavalry. So how does it work with other basing styles, I hear you ask? So all my ACW figures are based exactly the same, so I didn't have any other examples in this time period, but I do have some Napoleonic French. And as you can see, these are based 4 figures on 40 times 40 mil, which is the exact same size of a unit of 24 ACW figures on 60 times 40 mil. In terms of base removal, I would say there shouldn't be a problem, because if you have based your troops on 40 times 40, remove a stand if it receives its 6th casualty, and compare it to the other basing method, 60 times 40 mil, it's about the same size. If both sides use the same basing method, that would be ideal, but if you look at it this way, and it's not the case, there's not a huge difference. So it should work out in the rules. You know, with hot lead and cold steel, it's not a competitive game, so we just gotta work with what we have, don't we? And when, for example, this unit receives another or has to remove another base, you could say, well, in terms of 40 times 40 mil, just remove 2 stands at once, and you have the same size again. Yeah, that's a bit a downside of historical wargaming. Everyone has his own methods of basing figures, and as long as people know of each other, what a unit represents, what a base represents, it should work out. Then we have another conundrum, which of course is a different scale. So let me see if I can quickly do that. Now we have here the famous epic scale figures, which I'm also working on. Let me see if I can quickly put them up. This is the only brigade I have finished so far. Yeah, it just works the same way, just in a different scale. So a large regiment would consist of 5 bases, which would be exactly 1 sprue. An average size unit, 4 bases. Small regiment, 3 bases, and a tiny regiment, 2 bases. And I have some artillery as well. 3 bases for a large battery, 2 bases for a average-sized battery, and 1 base for a small battery. And that's about it. It's not rocket science. Yeah, so I hope this video clarifies yeah, how you should go about organizing your army, and I hopefully convinced you guys that you can use whatever you have to play this game. Comments, questions, let me know down below, and I'll see you in the next one.